God rest ye merry gentlemen, let nothing you dismay. For Jesus Christ our Saviour was born on Christmas Day. Oh, hello. Welcome to Sideways. Just practising. It's December now, and so our thoughts have turned to Christmas. And this week specifically, Christmas do's. We're talking about Christmas parties and why they represent such a tricky dilemma for people in recovery. If you have to go, we examine some of the ways you might keep yourself safe. In addition, we talk about why alcoholics never stockpile their drink, an extraordinary brush with celebrity, and have a significant difference of opinion over a Scottish delicacy. Office Christmas party.
You've got a touch of the Omicrons, have you, this afternoon?
Oh, I've got a cold going on, mate. Yeah, I don't think it's nothing more serious than that, but it's laid me low for a couple of days. But I think I'm on the mend.
Have you done a test?
I haven't. No.
Well, you should be doing a test when you got.
I don't even know where to get them from, mate.
You can get them from a chemist, or you can order them online.
Can you?
Yeah, you're putting me at risk not having tested.
Just by over the sort of a computer virus.
Yeah, you must be able to catch COVID over the internet, I would have thought. You can get everything else over the internet, can't you? I mean, you can get drugs on the internet and drink and your shopping. You must be able to get COVID on it.
Everything you like, yeah. I suspect it won't be a big call for that, but yeah.
No, well, there we go. Anyway, I'm glad to hear you're on the mend.
I am on the mend, mate. So, but I'm a little bit croaky, but I think I'm a professional. I'll just crack on through.
I think our listeners will be the judge of that, won't they?
Anyway, I don't think I've even discussed with you, have I? What my notes are?
No, you haven't.
So it's going to be a little bit of you've got to think on your feet on this one, but I don't think it'll be too much trouble for you because I'm sure you've got a lot of experience in this area. But it's I wanted to talk to you. It was one of your ideas, actually.
Oh, was it? Oh,
and it's pretty relevant at this time of year as well. Although talking about COVID, it could very well disrupt it this year, which was the dangers of the office party was what I wanted to talk about.
Oh yeah, the Christmas do. Yeah,
exactly. I mean, it's fraught with dangers for everyone, isn't it? There's always problems, there's always fallout from it, there's always issues involved in it. But particularly for those, there's an extra layer of danger, I suppose, for those in recovery, and that's the main area I wanted to look at. But
that sounds
before
good.
Before we start,
yeah,
this is their first episode in season 5. So episode 5, season 1.
If I get the numbering right.
Well, quite, yeah. But yeah, we've completed 2 years. We're cracking on. We're into year 3, which is nice, isn't it? But it was nice to receive some anniversary good wishes from Steve Gray, one of our regular listeners.
That's nice. That is nice.
Yeah, it's very nice. Actually, he comes up later down at the end of this episode on the gratitude list. We'll come back to that. To that later on.
I thought you were going to say he comes up in the dodgy Christmas do's section.
I'm sure he's got his own stories to tell. I'll have to ask him when I see him next.
That is nice. Yeah.
Yeah, it is. But also, before we start, there's a couple of points actually. Apart from that one, is that there's that link you sent me regarding alcohol shortages for Christmas potentially. So that would affect the office party somewhat, wouldn't it?
Well, it would. Yeah. I mean, it was. I can't remember the exact headline, but the inference was this is a proper disaster. If we start running low on booze, we're in big trouble.
I can imagine that the panic that would have set into me if I'd read that headline whilst I was still in the madness.
What would you have done?
Well, that'd have been the tricky one because I'd have tried to have stocked up and then I'd have got my stock before it got, and it would just been this horrible nightmare. The more you buy, as most addicts would tell you, or most alcoholics would tell you, the more you drink. So you'd have to have so much. It'd just be the sort of routine and drink collapse sort of thing.
What you'd have to do you'd have to go to your purveyor of choice, and you'd have had to say, right, I'm going to buy 5 crates of vodka, but I want you to hold on to them for me and I'll call them off as I need them.
That would have sort of been admitting you had an issue, and that, as most discerning addicts would tell you, they go to the ends of the earth to hide the issue away from everyone. So that would have been a definite no, that route.
If it came to a choice between admitting you have a problem and not getting any alcohol, that would have been a tricky one, wouldn't it?
Yeah, it would. Yeah, it'd have to get quite serious to that. I can't imagine at any moment that the shops would be running low on alcohol, running out of alcohol. There's always an alternative.
Seems implausible, doesn't it?
It does seem implausible, and it's so intricately entwined in our society that to run low on that would be riots, I'm sure.
Plus, everybody has got at the back of the cupboard a bottle of Cinzano, haven't they?
I haven't.
Well, no, obviously present company accepted, but everybody else has, haven't they?
I suppose so.
Or a bottle of cherry brandy, as we discussed.
That was the one I was going to mention, because there was always some cherry brandy at the bottom at the back of my parents' drinks cabinet. Yeah, that was so dusty and crusty.
Yeah, or apricot brandy.
Yeah, there's all the rage at one time. Yeah, but that was back in the 70s, really. I expect these days there'd be different types of gin, craft gins sitting about. Yeah,
that's right. Like there's a Bakewell tart flavour gin, isn't there?
Is there? Yeah, it's another way the industry have decided to dress it up to make it more palatable to those people that don't want to drink or don't like the taste of alcohol. Just get it into people in any other way you possibly can. Don't get me started. Don't get me angry. I'm not very well.
They want to do that Google search. How do I force myself to like wine?
Unbelievable. But I wrote these notes before I started to feel ill, because I just wanted to mention that I wrote these just for a change. I thought I'd write the notes for this episode standing up.
Really?
All right. Yeah. Well, I'd heard, right, that Thomas Wolfe, the American novelist, he always used to stand up to write, and I thought, I wonder why that is. But when I looked into it, it's because he was 6'6", and he found tables a little bit difficult to sit at. And it's in those, he used to stand up and write. He used to use the top of his fridge to write his notes on. Obviously, back in the days where there weren't fridge freezers, because it would have been quite tricky trying to write on top of one of those. You'd have to be really tall to do that. But,
Paul would have been able to do that.
He probably would have done, yeah. But he used to start at midnight and then right through to dawn. But I didn't do that. But I thought I'd try standing up, and it was just awkward. I didn't find it any more inspirational. But it reminded me, certainly when I used to go up to the city, as one of my clients up there used to walk in down in the office, a lot of the people there had those adjustable height desks.
Yeah.
So they could sit down and they could just push the gas lever underneath it and up it'd go, and they could stand up for a while.
Yeah.
They considered it was good to be able to do that, and it made them work better. Having tried it, I think I'll just sit at my desk going forward.
Yeah, that's what I do. I mean, some innovation is good, but not all of it.
Well, I think I was talking to you the other day. I had stood up for 4 hours at a gig, and at my age, I thought, my God, I don't know how much longer I can do this for.
You want to take one of those little picnic chairs?
So you can
sit down. Anyway, I've got a before we start this week.
Oh, have you? Okay.
Yeah. So I was chatting. A friend of mine came down on Sunday, and we spent the day together. And we were chatting. I don't know how we got around to it, but at one point we were chatting about small claims to fame. So brushes you've had with celebrity.
Okay.
So have you had any brushes with celebrity? So for instance, I think I've mentioned it before. Tom Baker once opened the door to Marks and Spencer's for me and said, "After you, dear boy." And I worked with someone who dropped a frozen lobster on Gloria Honeyford's foot. And I was also in a band with someone who once bought half a Guinness for Kate Bush. So it's that sort of stuff.
Oh, okay. Well, in fact, I've got a couple, but Gloria Hunniford was mine as well, actually.
Really?
I was out in Jersey on holiday. Well, it was my birthday, and the girlfriend that I was with at the time, she booked us to go out with a couple of friends. We went to stay in a hotel in Jersey. Was it Jersey or Guernsey? No, Guernsey.
Right.
I can't remember now. It was one of the Channel Islands. Gloria Hunniford was staying in the hotel with us.
Right.
She was there because they did a lottery, and she was sort of facing it, and there was a big lottery drawer out the front of the hotel. But yeah, she was staying in the room right opposite mine. I remember going out there in the morning, and she was out there picking up her magazines in her dressing gown, or the newspapers that had been left outside the hotel door. And so we had a few brief words there. And she also then spoke to me again at breakfast, and then again was out. We'd gone co-steering, me and the other chap that was there,
Yeah.
So we had our wetsuits on and we were swimming around the edge of the island and stuff. And when we got back to where we were disrobing, she was there again. It was almost like she was stalking me. But yeah, Gloria Hunniford, she came up. She would be on my list, certainly.
That's a very good one. Well, anyway, the point of this is, that is actually quite a good story, but the point of this is that my friend Prod told me about the small claim to fame that I think is unbeatable.
Okay, go on.
He has been trodden on by every member of Radiohead, with the exception of Ed O'Brien. But here's the clincher, on separate occasions.
My God, how random is that?
So I think with three of them, he was trodden on at gigs. Well, they all live in Oxford, so that does kind of narrow the odds a little bit. So he was trodden on by three of them at different gigs. And then he was trodden on by the fourth at his children's school, because his kids went to school at the same school as, I can't remember which one it was. It might have been Johnny Greenwood. I can't remember. So he's only got Ed O'Brien missing. So if Ed O'Brien's listening, my friend would really like you to tread on him, because then and then he can move on to another super group, can't he?
He can. That would annoy me, having one missing like that.
Exactly.
I wouldn't like that.
What would you do about that?
I'd go out my wild. I'd go around probably camp outside his house. And as he comes out to get in his car, just throw myself on the ground and get trodden on.
That'd be so frustrating if he stepped over you, though, wouldn't it?
Oh, yeah.
God, that'd be really grind your gears.
But the sort of link on to the office party was I was talking about those variable height desks. One of my clients up in the city, and they invited me back. I went to a couple of their Christmas do's back in the day, and they were well, quite hedonistic, really. But again, don't really remember them, and it probably wasn't a good outcome particularly. I mean, looking at, because normally at this part of the episode, I like to do a definition of what we're talking about. But it's not very difficult to define what an office party is. It's it's a party with your office pals, basically, isn't it?
Yeah.
But the thrust of it I wanted to talk about was surviving the office party with your sobriety intact. That's really what I want to look at, and that can be for people that with or without addiction issues, but certainly with addiction issues, it's a.
I would imagine, though, if you're early in recovery, you move heaven and earth to avoid the office party, wouldn't you?
Yeah, that's the basic. That's the first point, really. You know, if possible, don't go.
Right.
But you know how things can be quite tricky to get out of. I remember, you get through 3-line whips. One of the office parties I had to go to back in the corporate day meant I had to give up my ticket to go and see Queen and Status Quo at Wembley, which I think you stepped in and took the ticket in the end, didn't you?
I did, yeah. Thanks very much. I'm glad you had to go to that.
And that was a 3-line whip. There's no way I was allowed to miss that one because there's a lot of important clients around. So,
do you think this is one of those situations where, if you are obviously if you're in active addiction, then it creates great opportunity for you. But if you're in recovery, isn't this one of those situations where you kind of benefit from having been open about your problem with a Christmas party? Yes,
it is, and that's one of the points that if you look at your sort of a survival kit or survival kit list, that is one of the things. If you can be open with people, which again I know a lot of people can't. It's still seen as the stigma attached to being a recovering alcoholic or drug addict is still looked upon by your fellow workers, especially with the boss. It depends what sort of relationship you have with people, but there's certain people that are higher up the tree in your company that you really wouldn't want them to know. So I know it can be tough. I mean, I've always been very open, but then again, I didn't have those issues when I was working in the corporate world.
I think one of the things that makes that even more difficult is that, in my experience, quite often people I was working for in the corporate world were massive drinkers.
Well, quite, and I think that's. I suspect that's probably not quite as relevant now. I don't know. Perhaps they don't as much, but certainly, the 80s and early 90s and that sort of thing. It was everyone got drunk. I mean, it was the rule almost, wasn't it?
Mm. You certainly knew if you went to a work do, you were going to get hammered. That was that.
Yeah, you did. And people that abstained were laughed at, weren't they? And they're treated in a terrible way, really, looking back at it.
And all the years I was in the corporate world, I can only remember one colleague I had that didn't drink. And it was quite a thing. It's quite noteworthy that he didn't drink.
Yeah. Yeah, but they looked upon us a little bit strange, didn't they? But I think the phrase you've got to remember is, I don't think everyone has ever said, and you correct me if I'm wrong, I wish I'd drunk a little bit more in front of my boss and co-workers. That doesn't, no one's ever said, actually, I've put, well, I think I tried to put cohorts down there. So in front of my boss, but I've put on cohorts. Well, that can't be right. I suppose it's true if you worked in a brothel, but cohort. Imagine that party. Imagine that Christmas party. I think you probably have to edit that bit out. But anyway.
I'm definitely not going to.
But I mean, we've all got our own stories to tell, haven't we, about Christmas parties and how wrong they can go. And most of them tend to be because of people who've been drinking too much. I remember going back in the days when I was working for an insurance company. I remember a guy, he was a new guy, and he came along, and he thought it was a +1, so he brought his wife to the party, and no one else had their other halves with him. But can you imagine that? But also, she'd come in sort of all dressed. Everyone was smart casual, and she was in an evening dress, all poshed up. So I don't know what he told her. I mean, it was.
That is painful. I bet she had words with him.
Oh, can you imagine? Can you imagine? But also, these things just come into mind now. It just reminds me also there's a situation where I remember where this a girl that had come to the party who worked there. She'd arranged for her boyfriend to come and pick her up afterwards.
Yeah,
that she could have a few drinks and that'd be fine. But she got so drunk that she forgot that she'd arranged it and organised a taxi home. So I remember this because the boyfriend turned up. He was all looking around for her. And we said, no, she's already gone, surely. And he was getting quite angry. And he said, do you know what? We arranged this, he said, several days ago, and I've given up going out with my mates on the lash so I could say stay sober, come and pick her up. And now she's got a taxi home. So again, but apparently she'd got home, and obviously the house was in darkness because he was already on the way to pick her up.
Yeah,
she had no keys to get in, and she thought she was at the wrong house. She was so drunk because she expected people in. And so, this story went on. It was a terrible schmozzle. I mean, we get people now that people that come into groups that are in that situation. There's several things we tend to talk to them about. And the first point that you mentioned earlier on was, don't go if you can possibly get away with it. But if you can't, trying to. We always suggest that we talk to people at the groups beforehand, have a chat about it, and come. So lots of people come up with different suggestions. And I just wanted to go through some of those that have come up over the years as to how to deal with this.
Can I just ask a question before you get into that?
Yes, of course.
So I understand, the difficulty if you want to get out of a Christmas do, but you can't. There's a kind of 3-line whip, or there's a kind of expectation that you need to go. But there must also be situations where people, wherever they are in their recovery, kind of overestimate their ability to deal with a situation like that and think, I want to go, it'll be fun. But actually it turns out that it's a real tricky situation for them, and perhaps in some cases a kind of bridge too far. You must see that as well, I imagine. Yeah,
you do. Well, it's a multiple trigger situation. It really is.
Right.
So you've got to be really careful, but talking about it beforehand, and flagging up that you have issues with that, I think is right, because everyone, a lot of people on the groups would have been in the same situation. You can talk about how they dealt with it.
Yeah. And
we always try to recommend that, the acronym HALT, hungry, angry, lonely, tired. Yeah. They're sort of the triggers. Make sure none of those apply before you go. Right. Because you've got to get your mindset about right before you enter into that potential bear pit. So it is a tough one. And arrange what we always ask them to do as well. And I've actually been on the end of the phone for people that have been to these sort of parties, to arrange people that you can talk to or text if things get a bit triggery. So just have your phone with you. You can just text, and you can take yourself out of the situation. Which how
would that actually work in practice? So if you're in the midst of something, you think, crikey, I'm in a bit deep here, and you text someone or you call someone, what happens next that you would find helpful?
We tend to, in the situation I was talking about, we was having a bit of we lightened the mood, really, because he was telling me people that were at the party that looked like famous people.
Oh, okay.
Looked like other people. So he took him out of the situation. That was just by text. So just the fact that he was texting was taking him away from these triggers that were around him. So that made it.
So it's like a distraction, really.
Yeah, very much. And And then we just carried on. We had a few texts, and then again he was able to drive home later on, but it just took him away out of the situation, so that was fine. But which was a good point, because he could tell people that say, "Look, I can't drink, I'm driving." If your colleagues don't know, the next best thing is to put up, because you know what it's like. People at parties can be very pushy, especially those people that do drink a lot. Yeah. As we've talked about in the past, and I would have probably been the same. You want people to be drinking along with you. You want people to get involved.
If you went to a Christmas do, and you said I can't drink because I'm driving, then how would you handle the inevitable? Why are you driving? It's Christmas do.
Well, it's I mean, there's you can go down a little bit of a rabbit hole there if you're not careful. Yeah. But you can just say, when I couldn't get a taxi or whatever. You can't. Yeah. The lies can go on if you're not careful, which is easy if you just say to people, "I've got an issue with it. I can't drink." But some people are still will still be pushy. They're not interested in that. They don't see it as an issue. If you say, "I've got a bit of a drink problem," I say, "Well, I just have a couple then." You know what I mean? It's that sort of attitude. It's a misunderstanding. So rather than go through all the rigmarole of why that isn't the right thing to do, you just say, "Oh, I can't tonight," or "I'm on medication and I can't mix it. Can't mix it with the drink."
Did you ever come across people who have been able to say, "Well, I don't drink because I don't like it and I don't want to"?
Yes.
Do you ever find people that are strong enough in themselves to be able to effectively tell the other person, "I'm choosing what I do. I'm choosing what I do, and I don't have to, and I don't have to justify it to you"?
My eldest daughter does exactly that.
Yeah,
she just, because she doesn't drink, and she genuinely doesn't like the taste. So people say she does go out for meets up with some other old school pals from time to time, and she says, "No, I just don't like the taste of it." And that's the end of it. But they understand that now, and that's fine. She doesn't have to go any further than that.
Have you ever met anyone in recovery who's taken that line and is able to? I know it's not it's not strictly speaking true, but if you're in recovery, it is perfectly legitimate, isn't it, for you to say, "Well, I don't drink because I've stopped drinking. I don't like it, and it doesn't do anything for me, and that's it. That's the end of the story." Have you ever met anyone that's been able to do that?
No, I mean, mostly. I mean, again, if I've been in that situation, I don't want to go into it. I just say, "Look, I've had a bit of a problem with drink in the past, so I just, I'm on the wagon," and it gets rid of all except the most persistent of people that want you to join in their drinking fun. But no, it's normally most people, 99% of people, will leave it there. Also, I find, and what we do sort of recommend, is that if you are in a place like that, find the other people that aren't drinking and stick with them. So you don't have to be around those people that are getting a bit pissed, because those people, the heavier drinkers, tend to congregate together. So stick with it. Find yourself a pregnant woman to go and talk to. That's always the best. Because
just be careful of that advice.
Well, yeah, it's quite a good one, because obviously there aren't any issues at stake there, are they? Not as if you're going to chat the girl up or whatever, it's and she would understand, and that's fine, and everyone's happy.
Have you ever, or have you known anyone who's been in that sort of situation that will gravitate towards someone who isn't drinking and discovered a fellow recovering alcoholic?
Oh, yeah.
Right. That must be quite, I imagine that must be quite, well, I was going to use the word nice. Perhaps nice isn't quite the right word, but must be quite kind of comforting in a way.
I think I was at a party with you and that happened. Yeah.
Oh yes, that's right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you were.
And you suddenly become extremely good friends very quickly.
Well, you know something pretty significant about one another, don't you?
You do. Yeah. There's an instant bond, and it makes it easy for the pair of you.
Yeah.
But again, going back to it's just having your exit strategy in place as well. So, if things do get triggery, you can, have the option to go away. Which is why if you're driving. The trouble is, a lot of people that come into recovery often have lost their license through drink driving because they haven't got a car anyway. So, but if you are lucky enough to have retained your license throughout your heavy drinking period, then it's have it. Make sure you drive to these places and have your car close by so you can get away. Or alternatively, you can just disappear.
Like you used to do you were a career disappearer. You were.
Oh, well, but that was
you invented ghosting before it even bloody existed.
I was an early proponent of the art.
Early adopter.
I just, you should find it much easier just to say nothing, disappear, and pick up the pieces later on. But that has its own issues, because then people start to think you're a missing person, and so it can be.
I never thought that. I just thought you were rude.
Well, exactly. Well, people get used to it. I think it was the first couple of times people thought, "What's going on?" And then it became almost like a calling card for me, didn't it?
Exactly.
So,
I mean, I never associated it with a drink problem.
No, it's weird, isn't it?
I just thought you were being a knob.
Well, I think there was a lot of that in it, wasn't there? Yeah, that's for sure.
I wonder, though, just going back to this the kind of whole the attraction of the office party. We've spoken before about how being in recovery in some senses can make you feel like a little bit of an outlier. If you understandably kind of are able to get out of the office party, the Christmas do or whatever, and you don't go to it, I guess for a lot of people, they must feel like there's a risk that they're kind of ostracizing themselves and they're cutting themselves off, and they're making it kind of more difficult to create bonds and connections with people in the kind of everyday work situation. It's a real tough one, isn't it?
It is a tough one. We can refer back to one of our previous episodes, which we did on FOMO, the fear of missing out.
Yeah.
And I think that is quite relevant there.
Yeah.
And they always used to say that a lot of business and a lot of contacts were made where people used to go to the smoking room. These days we'd be going outside for a smoke. You go outside there and your boss is having a smoke as well. All of a sudden there's this instant bonds created, isn't it?
That's right. Then you're in line for promotion all of a sudden. Well,
exactly. Yeah, exactly. So, yeah, it is a tough one. And one which has to be handled delicately, but it's more than survivable for us people in recovery, and it makes you stronger for when the next time it comes around. That's for sure. If you know what a corporate do is coming up, try to get involved on as a volunteer or one of the helpers on the party as well. That was a point that was made, which I'd never done myself, but it was when I was researching this that tended to be quite a good one. It takes a bit of organising beforehand, but also if you volunteer to help, you tend to be quite busy and rushed off your feet during the party, so don't get time to be thinking about drinking. You're not standing around, so you're distracted from the main issues. Yeah,
that's a good idea, as long as you don't end up getting pulled into work behind the bar.
Well, exactly. Yeah, that would be one of the things you would avoid, wouldn't it? You'd be in charge of arranging the band, or looking after the band, or doing whatever. And it's anything else you can do.
Martin, do you mind having a go on the bar? We're a bit short-staffed.
That would be proper triggery. Though we have had people that are in recovery that have worked in bars.
Get out. You're joking?
Yeah, I know. But it pretty soon becomes clear that that's not a career path they should be engaging in or beyond whilst they're in recovery. That's for sure. Way too tough. The last point I'd say on that is that if you are in that situation, enjoy watching the other people making the fools of themselves. And in your own mind, you think, I'm not going to have a hangover in the morning.
I certainly have done that. I can remember once at a corporate do, some bloke got absolutely rat-arsed and goosed the president. That wasn't,
oh, my God.
That was pretty bad. He got severe. I'll tell you the other thing that I remember on at least two separate occasions where salespeople in the organisation ended up getting fired because they stayed overnight in the hotel, but driving away in the morning, they were still over the limit, got pulled over and lost their licenses.
Yeah.
So I certainly remember that happening. Don't really remember much about my own exploits. It's easier to remember that from my college days. I can remember getting absolutely hammered on Pernod and Black, and you're like this, and getting back into Mason and going to the record shop and buying Chicago's Hard to Say I'm Sorry.
Well, I think you'd have to be you've got to still be drunk to walk into a record shop and pick that one up, that's for sure. And, if you do stand around and watch these people making the fool of themselves, you can be grateful you're not going to have a hangover in the morning, and grateful you're not going to have to pick up the pieces from bad behaviour that you would potentially have got involved in the night before.
Oh, that's a nice little segue.
Exactly, onto the gratitude list, yes.
Yeah. Well, funnily enough, that was one of the things that I have been grateful for this week. And it's not something that I've necessarily experienced this week, but it's something that I haven't experienced this week or for any weeks in the last goodness knows how many, and that is not having a hangover.
Yeah.
Now, when I see my kids now, particularly Tom and his girlfriend, who she likes a bit of drink.
Yeah.
Don't worry, everybody, that she's trained to be a doctor. Don't let that worry you. But when I see them absolutely knocked out, I think, I'm so glad I haven't had that horrible sensation in the morning for as long as I can remember. I know it's a very simple thing and it sounds a bit sort of holier than thou, but it is a genuine thing that I feel grateful for, that I'm not attracted by that, and therefore I don't have to pay the price for it.
No, it's tough because it's one of those things you put up with when you're an alcoholic. You put up with that, but then again, you're rarely sober enough for it to kick in. So it's not a big issue. It's on the lead up to that point in your addiction where you are still having periods where you're not drinking a great deal. Then the hangovers are awful. So be grateful for that. And I think it's good to have that on your gratitude list. And everyone should have that's gone out and abstained and come home and said, I'm so grateful. I'm going to be feeling okay in the morning. Well, what I wanted to put on my list, I mentioned Steve at the beginning of the episode. I wanted to my gratitude is haggis, basically.
Oh, God, I can't stand it.
Absolutely lovely. And I'm very grateful that Steve and his wife, Tracy, Steve is Scottish anyway, so he's often back up in Scotland seeing his mum. And he brought me back a proper haggis there, which I'd said I really liked. And he said, I'll get you on next time up there, and brought one back for me. So I was very grateful for that. And having eaten it since, it's absolutely delicious.
Well, you're flipping welcome to it because I think it's grim.
Well, I buy it from time to time from the local supermarket.
Do you?
But I do. Yeah, I love it. But it's not the same as getting it from a butcher's in Scotland. It's just freshly shot on the moors. The little haggis is running around. They shoot them and bag them up and sell them on. And there it was, in a little haggis.
Do you have it with tatties and neeps?
Well, I had it with some potatoes, but I didn't have any parsnips or anything for it to go with. So I like it just with potatoes and just some crusty bread, or just some crusty bread and haggis is lovely.
I've had it once, and that was more than enough. Thanks.
Oh, no, you're missing out. But that's on my gratitude list anyway. So I was grateful not just for the actual haggis itself, but the fact that it was brought back from Scotland by.
Well, I'm grateful. I'm grateful that other people are eating the haggis, and I don't have to.
Okay. Well, I'm going to move on from that then, since you've started to turn your nose up. I was all alongside your gratitude, but no, you had to throw mine back and say no, it's horrible, disgusting.
You shouldn't give in order to receive.
Oh well, no, that's probably true.
Yeah. So
that's me told, isn't it?
Yeah, bloody is. Sickness or no sickness.
Right. So on the Spotify search, when I put party in initially, there's loads on there, but there was one I thought, Graham would probably like that. I don't know the track. There's one by Boston just called Party, and I thought, I expect he's all over that one.
I know that one.
Yeah, I thought you would do, yeah.
You feel like Boston like I do about haggis.
Ooh, it will get very bitchy today.
You had a taste of Boston and didn't much like it. I had a taste of haggis and didn't much like that.
Well, okay, I'm going to move on. Fight for your right to party.
Yeah.
That came out the Beastie Boys. It was just called Fight for Your Right. So I had to add that on, the to party bit in there, just to sneak it in.
Yeah, okay. I can allow you that artistic license.
But I remember you liked Let's Party by Jive Bunny, didn't you? I know you loved that all the time when that was big. So I know you read that. Let's get this party started by Pink.
I can't stand that.
No, it just reminds me of Ricky Gervais in The Office when he come running in singing that. The only other one, the Party's Over by Shirley Bassey. That came up, which is one of the most dreadful songs I've ever listened to. But if you're a Bassey fan, I'm sure you'd like it.
Would your mum have liked that?
Probably, yes.
Yeah.
It was the right sort of song, but it's morose. It's not.
I can't really think of any songs with party in there.
No, it was quite tough, really. But the one I'm going to add on, it's the first time we've had an a cappella group to go on the list, and this is by
the Flying Pickets. No,
it's not. It's a professional a cappella group from the USA. They're called Straight No Chaser.
Well, I'm surprised you put that on there.
Well, they did one called Office Party Blues, which is just lovely. So okay. I popped it on the list. I've let them slide. I've let the name of their group slide because the quality of their particular track, and I've listened to some of their other work as well, and it's good. I mean, I'm not a big a cappella fan in the past, but there's some very nice stuff on there, especially this bluesy one. It's really nice where they sort of get the 12-bar bluesy feel. A cappella.
Will you be playing it at your Christmas party?
Probably not on my own. Yeah.
Well, I thought perhaps you and Les have a Christmas do, where you you could share a M&S turkey feast sandwich, couldn't you?
We could do that. We have had Christmas do's in just him and I.
Have you?
Yeah.
Yeah, I've not had a Christmas do at Graham Landy Wellbeing.
Well, talking about that, I did listen to some of your music. You know, on your sort of your newsletter, which I think it's the Autumn 21 newsletter.
Yeah. The playlist, yeah.
Yeah, there's a playlist on there which I did listen to some of them. There's a track on there by a group called Bird Talker.
Yeah, it's great, isn't it?
Yeah, the track is I Know, I think it is.
Yeah.
And I thought, hang on, Graham's actually chosen something which is vaguely good here. What the hell's going on? It was a little bit more, I don't know, if the tempo is a little bit bright and cheery as far as your normal choice is concerned.
Well, you know, maybe my musical tastes have changed. You won't find a lot of American rock in my playlists these days.
Wow, no.
Yeah, so there you go. You also won't find any bloody haggis in them.
We'll have to find some songs about haggis. There must be some.
I swear there are, yeah. All right.
Okay.
Well, get well soon.
Thank you, mate. And we'll speak soon.
Laters.
Bye.
Bye. Sideways was created by Graham Landy and Martin Pankhurst. If you want to read more about our work or sort through the extensive archive of past episodes, just visit grahamlandywellbeing.co.uk/sideways-podcast. You can follow us on Twitter or Facebook or Instagram at Sideways Podcast, and you can email us if you have a question or if there's something you'd like us to cover. But most of all, we want to tell you how grateful we are that you come and listen, and we ask that if you've enjoyed what you've heard, that you spread the word. And we'll see you next week.